Hi, my name is Ana Laura Lopez Rodriguez and I'm gonna talk you about composite function and how to get its domain. A composite function can be thought as a combination of two functions. This means that this combination is about applying one function to the result of another. For example, here we have f of x and g of x, so the result of g is gonna be sent through f of x. This can be written like this or like this, and it is read as f composite with g or just f of g. It is very important that we do not confuse this little circle with a dot, because the dot means multiplication. So let's go to see our first example. We have our two functions that are f of x is equal to 2x minus 3 and g of x that is equal to 5x plus 2. And we want to get f of g or f composite with g. It is very important to know that the function that is inside the parentheses will always be called input. So in this case, our input is g of x. So now we will send the value of g of x through f of x. So we will have f of 5x plus 2. Now we need to substitute the value in f of x. So it is going to be 2 times 5x plus 2 minus 3. We want to simplify our function, so we will multiply the values. 2 times 5x, 10x, plus 2 times 2, 4, minus 3. And we will simplify it another time. 10x, 4x minus 3, plus 1. So our final result is 10x plus 1. This is called output. And now that we have our output of the composite function, we want to get its domain. To get the domain, we need to follow 3 simple steps. The first one is to get the domain of the input. The second one is to get the domain of the output. And the third one is to get the intersection of both domains. Taking into consideration our first example, remember that we said that the input was the function inside of the parentheses. In this case, our input is g of x, so the input is 5x plus 2. And as it is a polynomial function, the domain will be minus infinity and plus infinity. Now, our output was 10x plus 1. And this is also a polynomial function, so the domain will be minus infinity plus infinity. Now, to get the final domain of the composite function, we need to make the intersection of the domain of the input and the domain of the output. And as both domains are the same, it means that the domain will be minus infinity and plus infinity. The first example was very easy, so now we're gonna solve another a little bit more difficult. Now our functions are f of x is equal to x minus 3 and g of x is equal to 1 divided by x plus 2. And another time we want to get f of g. So we're gonna take the value of g and send it through f. And we will get f of 1 divided by x plus 2. And this will be our input. Now we will substitute the input in f of x, and we will get 1 divided by x plus 2 minus 3. To simplify our function, we need to multiply the minus 3 by the denominator of the input. So we will have 1 divided by x plus 2 minus 3 times x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. Making the operations, we will get 1 minus 3 times x plus 2 divided by the same denominator, x plus 2. And multiplying it, we'll get 1 minus 3x minus 6 divided by x plus 2. And this, it's gonna be our output. Now, to get the final domain, we need to make the intersection of both domains. So to get the domain of the input, we need to get the value of x. So we make x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 2. So the domain will be minus infinity, minus 2, union, minus 2, plus infinity. And we will make the same in the output. X plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 2, so the domain will be minus infinity, minus 2, union, minus 2, plus infinity. And we will make the intersection. And as both domains are the same, our domain will be the same. Minus infinity, minus 2, union, minus 2, plus infinity. Now you know how to solve composite function and how to get its domain. Thanks for watching!